We are going to discuss today's top stories now with Tom and Sonia, and we are kicking off, with the news of the tsunami.
Yes, yeah. News coming straight out of the Pacific Ocean this morning, where tsunami alerts have been issued for countries including the US, China, Japan and the Philippines.
So this follows a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 8.8 off the Russian coast. Millions have been told to evacuate. I think we can see some pictures now. And the last few hours, waves have reached Hawaii.
Yes, right. To bring us all the latest, we're joined now by GMB's weather reporter, Laura Tobin. Good morning, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Good morning, you. Thanks for coming over. Will you tell us what's the latest?
OK, can I just say, when I woke up this morning and saw an 8.8 magnitude earthquake, I thought, wow, this is big. And I was right. 8.8 magnitude is the sixth strongest earthquake Earth has ever recorded, and our records go back to 1900. And it happened off the coast of Russia, but it's in this area called the Ring of Fire. This is where tectonic plates come together and meet, and we often have earthquakes and volcanoes along these zones, but 8.8 is one of the strongest we've ever recorded, and it's where the two plates come together, slide, and then it releases energy, and then that energy is what causes the tsunami risk.
So that's the kind of the mechanics, I guess, behind it. Obviously, we all remember 2004. This is a bigger earthquake, but at the moment they're saying they're less worried. Can you explain the mechanics of that to us?
Exactly. I think the first thing that everybody thought when they heard tsunami warnings being issued, and as you said, they are right around the Pacific coastline. So we have a map of where all the tsunami alerts and all the tsunami warnings have been issued, not just in the coastal area. By the way, they had waves in Russia of 5 to 6 metres, but right the way down to New Zealand, from west to east, right the way across the west coast of America. But not the last time, but the time in everyone's minds where we had this huge coastal inundation from the Boxing Day tsunami, the actual earthquake and the coastline were very close together. Now, the earthquake happened up here, and the energy dissipates as it travels through the ocean. The speed of the energy is fast. It travels at 500 miles an hour. That's as fast as a jumbo jet. And the energy is 20 million times as powerful as a Hiroshima bomb. But yes, it dissipates, but when it gets to these coastlines, and the warning that everybody was worried about this morning was Hawaii. They had 6-foot waves, that is 2 metres high, but they have just downgraded within the last minute their warnings. So they had hurricane warnings, they now have, tsunami warnings, they now have tsunami advisories. Everybody was advised to go in and up to stay away from the coast, but the governor has just said to people they think the worst has passed, so they can now return back to their homes. But the next area that is on its firing line is the west coast of America. It has to travel further to get there. And this was a footage of the coastline retreating. Often it retreats first 100 feet before the water comes in. So it depends on the lay of the land. When you get to the coastline, the water comes in. So there's still the chance of tsunami waves right down that west coast of America. And I usually say the first wave isn't the biggest. It's the second and third ones that come. We have had 20 aftershocks since that earthquake overnight last night. So there's more energy in the ocean heading not just to Hawaii, but the west coast of America, and even as far as New Zealand.
Laura, can you explain, so in one respect, it dissipates as the distance gets further, but then it's got further to travel to the west coast of America. So will it not be dissipated completely by the time it got there, or will it build up energy as it gets more shallow?
So when I was talking to friends and colleagues and talking to forecasters for this, they give advisories about how big they think the waves are. So yes, when it travels from the epicenter to the coastline of America, that's a bigger distance. The energy is less, but the waves could be bigger because the floor of the ocean slowly slopes up, and that slow sloping causes that funneling of water. So the waves on this west coast could be bigger. At the moment, they're forecasted between 4 and 12-foot waves, so that is one to watch within the next few hours.
And Laura, where would be the safest place to be right now?
So the advice is in and up. They ask people to move inland. And for those who can't move inland, they've said to them to go up 4 floors high, and that would be safe. But as you say, this isn't one, the warnings have always said, we are not expecting catastrophic coastal inundation, but waves of up to 6 feet high, nearly 2 metres. That is enough to sweep people off their feet, take away cars, so staying away from the coast is imperative. These were the waves in Japan. They had waves of up to ½ a metre in places, but like I said, in Russia, they had 5 to 6 metre wave highs. And also, not just forgetting, this is the coastal inundation that they did actually have in Russia, an 8.8 magnitude earthquake with many aftershocks. I think we're going to see more devastation in Russia and the surrounding areas. We see further aftershocks in the coming days.
Gosh.
Wow.
So scary, isn't it? And I think you literally do think one thing. When you hear the word tsunami, you think one thing. And obviously I know that it can look very differently, but it's terrifying.
But Laura, at the same time, if you're out at sea, that's presumably a pretty safe place to be.
Yeah,
correct?
so this was a question we had this morning. If you're on a cruise ship, what do you do? When all the cruise ships from Hawaii, it's a very popular cruising destination, they move them well away from the coast because the ocean just sort of will have sort of moderate waves at best, but it's only realised, the tsunami warnings and the tsunami risk is only realised as you get to the immediate coastline when the ocean's shallow and it's funneled up to the coastline. So the coast is the worst place to be out in the open ocean, despite being closer to the epicentre, is actually, yes, must take.
Brilliant.
Wow.
Thanks, Laura. I can't believe you got in on a free transfer. It's great. I mean, come over.
Yeah, I love this.
So, GMB, she's staying.
She's ours now. We're
Thanks,
keeping
Laura.
her. Thank you, Laura. Thank you very
It
much.
does go to show, doesn't it, you two? Just like we all remember 2004 and then the Japanese tsunami, and just how, as a world, we've learned and we've progressed so much in such a short period of time in terms of our responses.
But also that so many people in all different parts of the world, across a huge swathe of the planet, are also vulnerable from one single event.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It kind of, in that sense, it's sort of unified the entire Pacific Ring in going, oh my God, this thing's coming. I mean, you mentioned, Rochelle, when you hear the word tsunami, you think of one thing. For me, it's Fukushima, isn't it? It's the nuclear power plant in Japan. I was listening this morning and they were saying, well, they're seeking protections for it now. They've got a plan in place for it. And you think, oh, my God, I hope they have.
You do think all the kind of the conflicts, and I know this sounds a bit like John Lennon Imagine, but, you know, you do think of all the conflicts in the world going on, and then something like that, and the kind of nations and borders don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the size of that red line, the Ring of Fire. I mean, it's just like, it spans continents and the whole Pacific Ocean, so absolutely.
Pray everybody stays safe. Right, should we move on to our next story now?
Yeah.
Well, another reason to ban the vape. Apparently, 1 in 3 teen vapers become smokers. So new research is showing that teenagers who vape are likely to start smoking as teenagers were in the 1970s. What do we know about this study, Sonia?
So it's a study that looks at if young people take up vaping, how much more likely are they to go on to smoke? And the study finds they're actually much more likely if they take up vaping in the first place to go on to smoking. I've got really strong views about this. So this is one concern about vaping and children and young people, which is it can act as a gateway to actually smoking because it encourages those habits of kind of inhaling and like blowing out vapour. The other thing is actually vaping. We really don't know about the long-term consequences for children and young people themselves. These vapes are very poorly regulated. Some of them have far higher levels of nicotine in them than cigarettes. They're in this very bright packaging that feels quite marketed to children, all these different flavours like bubblegum. So my view is that vaping, we know it's very effective as a cessation aid, smoking cessation aid, and it is far less harmful than smoking, but it probably comes with its own dangers for children. We don't know what they are yet. We haven't got the long-term research. Why would you allow children and young people to vape? And I know it's unlawful to sell them vapes, but it is marketed toward children. What they've done in Australia is vaping is seen as a smoking cessation product. So it's available in pharmacies, you know, in supermarkets, in plain packaging.
Right.
That is what we should be seeing vaping as smoking cessation, full stop. It's not something that through marketing we should be, and like bright colours and fun flavours, we should be encouraging young people to take up. It's a really unhealthy trend in my view.
It's also, listen, don't start smoking, don't start vaping. It's also deeply uncool. Do you know what I mean? At least, do you know what I mean? At least with smoking, there was a kind of insouciance. You know, you get James Dean, James Bond, other famous Jameses.
Well, the advertisers got it so right back in the day, didn't they? They were so...
It was kind of cool and kind of sexy. And then you'd never see James Bond with a Loft Mary. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. It just wouldn't happen.
Those big ones.
Yeah, really huge plumes of smoke. It's so pathetically, boringly uncool.
But it just goes to show how addictive things like nicotine...
I mean, nicotine is highly addictive and it does have physiological consequences on the body and it's, you know, children shouldn't be doing it. So...
Yeah, I mean, when you hear the word, the child or children, teen, that kind of... Just none of it sits right. I don't feel like we need new research or another reason.
Sure, we said you can't sell them to kids, but we are allowing vape manufacturers to get away with... Basically, we all know they're marketing these products at children and teenagers. It's what they're doing when they come up with these bright designs and stuff. And we don't need to let we don't need to allow that.
Yeah, and like we say, we actually don't need any more research to tell us that children and teens shouldn't be doing this,
Just
right?
don't give them addictive things as kids. You know,
Yeah.
you don't want kids to be addicted early on to things that
Problem
are
is,
harmful.
if you tell a kid, teenager, not to do something as an adult, the chances are they're going to want to try it. Right, because we've all been there not that long ago, right?
Sure.
So then you're back
I
your
was,
head.
I was a goody two
No, you
shoes.
weren't.
Speak for yourself, Dan.
But you know, that's 101. That's a rite
what's
of
quite
passage. So it's just
interesting,
kind of
yeah.
how you.
That's why you've got to show it isn't cool. You know, you've got to persuade the 14, 15
I mean,
that
you
they're
just
not...
did
I
that
think we need
really
another
well.
Tom
to
Swarbrick.
be
Do you think
honest.
they're going to listen to
Come on,
Tom
Tom.
Swarbrick, the
do you know what
I
trendsetter?
think they do now after cans on the train.
I know, quite. We need to find a new one. No vaping. Vaping not on. It's not allowed on trains, but you still see people do it. You know, I just think it looks a bit desperate, a bit clingy, a bit kind of you're addicted to smoking, so you need to have a vape, and that's what it was designed for originally.
Yeah.
So why then you would imbibe that to say, yeah, well now I'm a cool vaping guy.
The thing is that kids...
and it's like little tiny little thing. Like,
The thing is that kids are. Like,
Pathetic.
I see teenagers doing it all the time. What's interesting, though, is that when it comes to smoking, the government, and it's backed by the Conservatives as well, has introduced a new ban that's going to come into force. It basically means that children who are now 15 and under, it will never be legal for them to buy cigarettes.
Yeah.
So it is going to lead to this quite weird situation where somebody who's 35 at some point in the future can buy cigarettes by showing ID, and someone who's 33 can't. That's going to be quite interesting, I think. It's going to be interesting to see whether that ban lasts.
As to how that works.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure later on when there are adults saying it can't be right that somebody 2 years older than me can do this.
buy
They're
them,
35 and I'm 33. So it's going to be interesting when these kids are young.
So
it makes
two
sense.
words, duty-free.
But also it's going to be like...
He's on the Calais trip as well. You can just see him.
He sways the 39-year-olds heading over to Calais for like...
Yeah, and reselling, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I can't see how that's going to work. Right, next story. Let's talk about birthdays.
Sure.
And how you were very serious then. Sure. How do you feel about celebrating birthdays?
Great.
I think it's got to be a big one to really go for it, if I'm honest. Like,
Right.
you know, I'm 39 in March. I'm not going to celebrate that, am
So
I?
young.
Just get on with it.
So
Just
young,
crack on. If I'm
baby.
working, it's a good thing. You know,
Well, you've got to do something for your 40 day.
Yeah, I
So
think
the
40.
thing about... I hate organising birthdays. I find it quite excruciating.
Your birthday or others?
My birthday, like,
Yeah.
I hate it. It feels like, you know, everyone's coming round to celebrate you.
Painful.
You feel like you're imposing on people.
Yep.
But, so my tip for it, and what I did for my 40th, is do it jointly with friends. And that way, it doesn't matter if no one rocks up. You can just have a really good time with your two other mates. You've got this big party with
You're in
an
this
empty
together.
venue. But obviously, because I did it with two other friends, you know loads of people between you, so there's much less pressure on you.
Yeah.
It matters less if someone
Yes.
doesn't show up. And so it's
not
much lower
stressful.
pressure, it's less stressful.
Why are we
and
asking
It's so much fun.
The reason that we're
Yeah,
getting to
let's
this...
come on to the reason
Joanna Lumley, who's joined us later on in the show, and she'll turn 80 on the 1st of May next year, but she won't
she
be
here?
celebrating. She's here later.
Is she here?
She's
Is she going to be
incredible.
coming in
She's
soon?
incredible, yes. She won't be
around.
celebrating
How are
the
you
big
not
milestone.
losing your mind?
I am inside.
Instead, Joanna sort of sits in your camp and she would actually want to spend her birthday working.
Is Joanna Lumley in my camp?
She's she is. She is now.
What a camp.
I'm sort of regretting facing myself in the upper camp now.
I do
What a
find
camp.
that quite interesting, though, because it's such a big milestone birthday.
I think you have to feel how you feel. So when I
Yeah, you
turned
have to
50,
do what you wanna do.
I didn't want to party. Not because I was turning 50. I just
Yeah.
wasn't in the headspace for
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And so I took myself off. I had dinner with some mates that night, like really
Lovely.
like small intimate. I went for a swim. Me and Dee had brunch together, hang out with Casper, and I was like,
That sounds like
the
a
day I
nice
wanted. It was a
birthday.
really lovely
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
But given that, you know,
But do you
then
feel
if
like
you hit,
Maybe
you know,
when you're
another
like
birthday,
54,
long time.
you a long time.
You're a
Maybe
baby.
then you'll want to have like a really big
Exactly.
party. It doesn't
Don't be
have
too
to be linked
prescriptive
to a
about
big...
Do you
yeah.
believe in celebrating it and sort of marking that it's your... Because some people completely ignore it and get a little bit weird if you're like, oh, happy birthday, but they don't want that mentioned at work or they don't want a big
no,
thing
I love
made...
all that.
I just love a great
It's all about
party.
you.
I mean,
so
it's
for me, it's like...
literally. I love coming here for a birthday because
Yeah.
basically there's someone here that's always
Your
going to bake
bosses are
you a
going to
cake.
love you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
well,
You're right.
that's true.
Like, do
You're
you get
right.
Sarah on that day?
Yes.
I know, that's my birthday.
She is now.
It's my birthday again.
Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? I love it. I'm like, listen, we're here, we're alive.
Yeah,
Let's
and it's just
celebrate.
like,
for it.
do you know what? Sometimes it's just really a good excuse to have a great party and bring loads of friends together, put on some good music and have a boogie. And I do think as you get older, you get fewer and fewer chances to just do that sometimes.
Why make it a birthday? Why not just
Why
a
not
day?
just have a
Why not
random
just have a day,
party?
you know?
Yeah.
Let's go crazy on
I
Wednesday.
don't give me
Also,
a reason.
do not
We'll be
worry
all
about
around
age.
yours tonight,
There's
Rochelle.
nothing nothing you can do about it.
Exactly.
It's just like,
Crack on.
don't worry about age because there's nothing you can do.
And
about it.
also, I'm a
embrace
firm
it.
believer, actually, life gets better in general because you become more confident
Yeah.
in yourself, more at ease with yourself. That's been my experience anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I've loved my 40s a lot more than my 20s.
Oh, this is really interesting. Car breathalyzers. So, British cars are set to be fitted with breathalyzers and black box style recorders, which will tell you if you're over the limit. Thoughts?
I mean, this is in keeping with the European standards, which is why the British government seems to want to do it. I just, you know, if the criticism is, oh, no, this is Big Brother, nanny state, what have you, I don't get it.
No,
I mean, it's a good thing that there aren't people tooling around in their cars
Exactly.
3 times over the limit.
And
if
it's
they
illegal.
if they can't start their car because they failed a breathalyzer...
So that's what will happen. The car won't start
won't
if you
start.
fail the breath.
Yeah.
I think what's more important here is it's the morning after. Because we were talking in makeup.
Yes,
like,
that's really
like, you've got to be
true.
a special kind of moron to drink drive on the same day. But I think it's a trap that people fall into
You may
quite
not-
innocently.
yes,
That they have a couple of
yes.
drinks in the evening.
A night's sleep.
They might not get a great night's sleep.
Yeah.
They have to be up early.
Yeah.
And actually, like, if you had a drink at 2, there's no way you'd get into a car at 7 in the evening.
Yeah.
and go,
No.
I feel fine. But if
No.
you up late and then you got into your car the next morning, you probably
Yeah.
wouldn't even think you were over the limit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you've had more than a couple of drinks, some people might just think, oh, well, I slept, it's out of my system. So I think this is a really good thing. If it saves lives because
Yeah,
it cuts
absolutely.
accidents on the road, I mean, what's not to like about it?
Yeah.
Basically.
I'm with you.
It's like it's one of the advantages of
I
new
agree.
technology rather than just
The same arguments are made about seatbelts. Forget it,
Exactly.
They save people's lives.
Exactly.
What's the
100%.
argument against
Well,
seatbelts?
that's, I mean, at the
People
time...
said it was
Oh,
like the nanny
really?
state
At the time,
making
people were
it
like,
illegal
oh.
not to wear a seatbelt.
Oh, I don't want to wear it. Do you know what I mean? Forget it. It saves people's lives. It's a good thing.
Yeah,
Wear
and
it.
now look at us. You wouldn't
Exactly.
ever
Yeah, you
get in a
wouldn't
car
dream
without
of
one.
it, no.
Exactly that.
Rush, how early to get to the airport?
Well, this is probably the thing that...
Talking the airport or gate here, it's 2 different
I'm just
scenarios.
talking life. I'm loose with time. That's how I put it. I'm good at work. And I think that's why I'm not good socially, because this is what... Look at the way I'm
Are you always late?
Wow, you're so...
You're always
there's
late.
something
That
in there.
sounds like an excuse to me,
it
Rochelle.
sounds like I'm defending myself, isn't it? Which I am. But I think where I'm so used to everything being routine and I like to be on time for work and that's important to me, when I'm very loose with dinner, and maybe that doesn't look good because it looks like I don't sort of value everyone else's time. But yeah, getting to the airport early is what we will row about because my husband, that's where his holiday starts. He likes to enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, these two poor
And also,
things.
I hate being stressed about... I've never missed a flight in my
just
life.
think
I don't
it's a
want to
waste
jinx
of
myself.
time.
But I hate being stressed about getting to the airport on time, so I always leave way too
That's
much
my
time.
life.
Well, this is a bit over the top, I think.
Yeah, 2 siblings who tried to check in for a flight from Gatwick to Barcelona and realised they were a whole year early.
There's time you can spend in an airport.
Packing. You're going to Barcelona.
Please tell me there was another flight available for them.
So the amazing thing was, and I mean, I can't see this ever happening to me, is they managed to get, so they booked this flight a year in advance for 100 quid. They managed to get it for 70 quid when they walked up at the airport. I mean, I can't imagine that ever happening to me. You'd imagine that, whatever airline it is would slap a massive,
Tariff
tax
on
on you because you're rocking up and you haven't got a
Yeah.
ticket.
I just think it's pathetic. I think it's pathetic. I don't deserve to fly. If you get it wrong by a year, do you know what I mean? Like, how bad is your admin skills? You can come at me with all...
If you don't deserve to go.
No. You can come at me with all the admin you
There's
like.
your big brother, right?
The travel admin, life
Tom's
admin,
banning them from holidays
kid
for
admin,
life.
holiday admin, I'll boss it. I'm just ready for it. I will turn up at the airport 3 hours beforehand because that's what they're designed for. It's designed to sit in, to have a drink in, to shop in. They're there to be good places to be in.
Aren't they just designed to just be able to get on the flight? See, that's my defence.
No,
I'm like, let's just get there.
I
and
don't
go.
like time in the airport, but you need it. You need lots of it because I just don't like missing
You say
flights.
that,
The
Sonia.
worst thing, though, is I've been to some airports, like at least at airports in the UK, there's quite a bit of seating, so you can sit down. I've been to airports in some countries, I'm not going to name them because it feels a bit
Don't
unfair.
name, for God's sake.
But, literally, there's no seating.
There's no seating.
And there's loads of shops. So basically, they just make you go to the shops and, in an attempt to... Because they don't give you seating.
Yeah.
When the gate comes up.
I tell you what,
It's really
I tell
bad.
you what I love is literally free time when you get to an airport and your flight's delayed and you don't have the kids and you're like,
Yeah, this is me.
I'll have a beer and a burger.
I'll settle in.
This is my
I've
house.
literally got nowhere else I can be
Yeah,
for 2
and,
hours.
and that's how
As
you
a
end up
kid in
living
there.
in the airport.
I had a kid in there and that whole theory changes.
all together.
Exactly that. Should we talk about toast?
Why not?
Yeah.
Let's.
Do you know what? We love toast. And do you know what I have to say? This is my favourite place to have toast. Something about toast at this morning hits differently.
Very good toast.
However, apparently, we're doing it wrong.
Tom,
We are.
explain.
Tom's going to give us a demo.
There has been a great debate for hundreds of years about how to eat toast properly in the most gentlemanly and English way. And it seems as if the whole you lift up an entire slice and you shove it in, you cut it diagonally. That's very appropriate. But this piece here says the proper way to eat toast is to break off a bite-sized piece of it, apply your butter and preserve. So you break off a little bite-sized piece. You apply the butter, thank you very much indeed, and then you hand it over to Sonia Sodha.
Oh, thank you.
weird.
Apply your butter
No,
and preserve,
this isn't
and,
okay.
and then you can repeat the process again until your
weird.
plate is empty. If you slather the entire thing in butter, that is very inappropriate. Sorry. That's
quite
very
aggressive.
inappropriate, and you don't want to do that.
But hang on a minute.
So weird,
sorry.
right?
This is
So
so
would
weird
you like
because
a-
This is a butter
you need the
police.
butter
This is
to
a Big
melt.
Brother state.
The butter has to melt.
I
So it's
agree.
been waiting and
I
everyone's
agree.
getting a cold bit of...
I agree. I'm with you, Rochelle. But apparently...
Michelle, would you
so-
like a piece of my...
No, because your butter's not melted.
Very true.
Right too. But apparently, so the right way, because I like toast to be fluffy in the middle. Apparently, that is not the right toast etiquette as well. So you're meant to do it with stale bread, and the problem with modern bread is it's got too many preservatives in it, so it goes mouldy before it goes stale. But you're meant to do it with stale bread, and then it's meant to be crispy all the way through. But I like a bit of softness
You're
to my
saying, just
toast.
very briefly, that apparently it's how they used to, a man's
Yes,
virility.
so it was a
back in the day.
man's role. So essentially, obviously, there weren't toasters in 18th century England. So you used to toast your bread on a fork in front of the fire.
Yes.
And apparently, men used to boast about their toasting skills in the same way that the
What?
modern
Wow.
man
Bloody great
would
toaster, mate.
boast about his barbecuing
I bet this guy
skills.
knows
So
that.
it's the 18th century
So,
version
William
of a man
Hanson-
being like, look, I'm such a good toaster.
William
Look at this
Hanson.
nice brown bit of
Very
toast
good.
I've just made.
William Hanson
Fair.
also shared the
Over.
shape of the toast says a lot about your class. Posh toast is often squared, has the crust removed. Middle class is triangular, and common toast is rectangular. And they say we're obsessed with class. Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the morning.